Good morning, class. Today, our lesson is on what? Audit planning and what? Risk assessment. You are supposed to complete it within this week and what? With 3 and what? Alright, let's move on. Okay, so the outline for this particular slide is what? Obtaining, accepting, and continuing audit what? Engagement. Then we'll look at the objectives and what? General principles. Then we'll look at audit planning and what? Documentation. So we should be able to finish these 3 today. So that next week we can look at what? Assessing audit risk, understanding the entity, its environment, and what? The applicable financial reporting framework. And then we conclude by looking at what? Fraud, laws, and what? Regulations. Right? Yes. Some people, if you smart to them, they just answer. You maintain wicked face. As if say, I have them not to eat before coming. Okay, so basically, when you are looking at what? Audit engagement. Okay, we look at how to obtain and complete what? Engagement. The acceptance process. And what? To maintain a continuing relationship with what? Your client. Okay, yes. No. In every relationship, when it's formal, it must be what? Familiarized. You must familiarize it. You must formalize it. Okay? When you came here, what formalized your relationship with your school? Before you came here. What gave you the right to be here? The acceptance in the form of what? No. Admission letter. They gave you an admission letter. And that gave you the right to what? To be here. A student. Is that not it? Yes. Who are those working here? Who are those working? Yes. Anyone working here? Who? Raise your hand. Oh, let me quick. One is where? You are working. Where? Nobody beat yourself. Okay. Before your employment was accepted, what formalized your relationship with your employer? What letter? No, that was accepted in the form of what? Appointment letter. That is what gave you the right to be there. Not your application. Because a lot of people wrote application, but they weren't there. Okay? But you are there because when you applied, it was what? Accepted. And then they gave you what? Appointment letter. So it gave you the right to do what? There. The same thing happens to what? Audit firms and their clients. Okay? The auditor will go or will look for potential clients. Okay? And that is what we call obtaining what? Audit engagement. And then once he is able to find one and they accept it, they must give a letter. Okay? And that's what we call engagement letter. And that engagement letter gives the auditor right to what? Audit. What? The audit firm. Okay? And it also helps to resolve issues because it spells out your salary, your employment letter, your salary, your terms of condition, whether you are entitled to fuel allowance or not. Okay? So if they are not paying you or they are not giving you that allowance, and the letter states, you go to them, you say, you state them like this, okay, and yes or no, then they will do it. Okay, so it settles disputes too. Okay, so I wanted you to understand this, get this broad understanding. Basically, that is what we are going to look at. Okay, so what do we mean by obtaining engagement. Any questions or question? You understood this to this point?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is the nature of obtaining engagement? Obtaining audit engagement involves marketing and business development activity to secure potential what? Clients. Okay? So once you have to market yourself to find clients, okay? That is what we mean by what? Obtaining what? Audit what? Engagement. What is the purpose? The purpose is to identify and attract what? Organizations that requires what? Audit what? Services. Assess their needs and determine if the audit firm is a suitable fit. Okay? Because I can't meet your needs if I don't know your needs. Okay? So I have to assess it, know it, and then what? You determine whether you will be able to meet their needs or the client is fit enough for you to work on it. You understand? That's the purpose. Now, so obtaining audit engagement is carried out by who? It's carried out by who will go to obtain audit engagement? Are they students? They are what? Auditors. And who accepts engagements? The organization. Okay, so accepting what? Engagement. What's the nature? Accepting engagement is the process of what? Evaluating the potential client. Okay, I come to you, I tell you, accepting engagement is what? The process of what? Evaluating the potential client and the audit what? Engagement to decide whether to take it or what? Or not. Okay? Right. Purpose. The purpose is to ensure the audit firm has the competence, resources, and independence to what? Perform the what? Audit effectively and to assess any potential risk. So I come to you, okay, I want to conduct an audit. Of course, you have to assess whether you have the competence to be able to audit. Okay, and that's the purpose. You get it? Yeah. And who does that? The client. All right. So we can move on. Rejoice.
Hey.
You are losing. Rejoice, what are you thinking about? What you had a nightmare yesterday. So when we talk about continuing engagement, what do you understand? What do you understand by continuing engagement? You want to attend? So we are saying that I went to obtain, the auditor went to obtain a potential client. The potential client found the auditor worthy enough and accepted it. After that, what happened? You must maintain the continuity. It shouldn't be a one-off something. You should be able to maintain what? The relationship. Okay? So that is what we mean by what? Continuing what? Engagement. Right. So continuing engagement involves what? Periodic evaluation of what? Existing audit what? Clients. To ensure that the audit relationship remains what? Appropriate. And of course, to be able to maintain a relationship, then you must do what? You must what? Evaluate. Is that not it? Evaluate and ensure that you do the right thing if you really want to continue a relationship. And that is how it is with marriage. That's why these people marry one day and they divorce. Because they don't evaluate it and maintain it enough to ensure that it's what? Sustainable. So they marry today, tomorrow. So what we are saying is that if you don't evaluate and meet the needs, okay, and maintain it, it won't work. Continue. The same way with some audit firm, they audit today, tomorrow they are off. Because what? They weren't able to maintain what? Their engagement to ensure what? It continues. You understand? Yeah. So if it is not appropriate, it will discontinue. But if it is appropriate, they will do what? They will continue. Yes. So what is the purpose? The purpose is to monitor changes in what? Client what? Circumstances, assess independence, and determine whether the audit engagement should be what? Retained. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. You have to assess whether the audit engagement should be what? Or not. And whether it will be retained or not will determine what? It will be determined by the factors that what exist. Whether the auditor has been able to be professionally competent, okay, was objective. Remember the International Preparation Accountant Code of Conduct, the 5 guidelines for auditors and what? Accountants. Remember them? The 5. Yes, the first one, objectivity, integrity, professional competence and due care, confidentiality, and the last one, professional behavior. Okay, so all these factors plays a role in ensuring that the engagement is maintained. Okay, right. Okay, so the next one is what? Client's what? Due diligence. They are saying that we should assess the potential client's what? Okay, the background must be what? Assessed. And in the same way, when you want to enter into a sustainable relationship, you don't meet a girl today and you don't assess the background. You have to know the background. You enter into a relationship and all you know, you don't even know anything about him or her. You don't even know the background. You don't know whether the girl is living with the father or the mother, and you say you don't know. Is it possible? Yes. You have to assess the what? Background. And it's the same thing when it comes to audit client relationship. You apply it to your personal life, and then you'll be able to remember. Okay, and then what? You assess the client's what? The reputation. Okay, is the girl or boy what? Credible. Do they have reputation? Okay, of maintaining relationship, or they just enter into relationship together and tomorrow they are off. You have to assess that. And you have to also assess financial stability. Okay, an audit firm who doesn't have money would compromise upon its what? Objectivity and independence. Okay, you get it. But once they are what? Financially stable, they will be able to carry their professional work with due what? Diligence. They wouldn't be what? Easily influenced. So you look at their financial stability. Okay, so in relationship you look at financial stability. A lot of people disqualified. Okay, and then what? Industry to ensure they align with what? The audit firm value and what? Capability. Okay. And then we look at what? Independence and what? Objectivity. We are saying that we have to evaluate the client existing what? Relationship. All these things must be what? Evaluated with the what? Audit what? Firm and assess any threat of what? Independence. Okay? Ensuring that the audit can be performed what? Objectively. You have to assess that. Okay? You have to assess that the auditor they are bringing on board, is it truly independent, or is some management angle or relationship who's come to audit as the external auditor? If that is the case, then it will not affect his what? Independence. Okay? It's objectivity. You get it? Yes. Right. So you have to be following. immediately we finish, then we go. Today, you look a bit down. I wonder, competence and what? Competence and what? So, we are saying that confirm that the audit firm has the necessary what? Expertise to what? Conduct the what? Audit. Does he have the resources and capacity to meet the client's audit needs? Yeah. All these things must be assessed by who? No, to confirm the audit firm, it will be done by the man. You understand? So you see, it is a two-way something. Okay, the client must also be convinced that you are coming to do the right thing, and the auditor must also be convinced that the entity is good enough to be audited, is fit enough to be audited. So it's a two-way thing. You understand? Audit risk and what? Assessment. We are saying that you have to perform risk assessment to identify any significant risk or ethical issues associated with what? The engagement, ensuring that they can be adequately managed. Who will do this? Is it the client or the audit? The audit firm. The earlier one, who will do it? The next one will be done by the. So you see, you have to read and understand and know who really does what is required by, and what is not required by. Do you understand? Yes. Engagement letter. So, what is an engagement letter? Who can give us an idea of what an engagement letter is? Yes. So we are saying that develop a clear and comprehensive engagement letter. No one can help us with what an engagement letter is. Okay, so develop a clear and comprehensive engagement letter that outlines what? The scope of work, right? What scope of work should the auditor work? And I think that must be clearly stated in the work engagement letter so that the auditor knows what areas he or she is what? Is what? Audit. Okay. And then what? His responsibilities. It must be clearly stated in what? The audit what? The engagement letter. And then the terms of engagement. What are the terms of engagement? Including what? Fees. Okay. Everything must be stated in what? The engagement letter. So engagement what? Continuous. Engagement continuous. So engagement continuous what? Decision. What do we mean by that? Periodically assess whether it is appropriate to continue the audit engagement, okay, by considering any changes in what? Circumstances, relationships, or what? Risk, okay. You have to periodically assess the relationship, okay, so that if there's anything that is become a trend towards it, okay, you try and resolve it objectively so that you can maintain that relationship. Regular communication, of course, communication is key. Okay, communication is key in everything. If you want to maintain your relationship with what? The person. In terms of what it is, if you want to maintain a good relationship with your client. So maintain open and an ongoing communication. Okay, it should be what? Ongoing. It should be what? Ongoing with the what? Client to address any what? Concerns. Okay, clarify expectations. What are the expectations? You clarify it. Because if you don't have expectations, you don't know where you are going. You apply it to your life. Okay? If you don't have I ask of people's career and some people say you don't do it. Why are you here? You want to finish and go on and continue to eat your life. At the time will come, your father will say, please go and look for what you started. And you are now going to think of what you know what you want to do now. Okay? Know your what? Expectations. And provide update on what? The audit what? Process. Okay, you have to be providing what? Update where you got it in the auditing. Okay? If there is any risk that is coming up, you have to do what? Update your mind, and then together you be able to what? Mitigate or reduce that risk. Okay? Ethical consideration. You are saying that adhere to ethical standards. Okay? Maintain ethical relationship with your what? Clients. Okay? So that there will always be respect. Okay? Applying it to your life. Maintain ethical relationship with yourself, with your parents, with your wives, your girlfriends. Respect her so that she also respect you. Ethical consideration is very important. Okay? So we are saying that adhere to what? Ethical standard, including those related to what? Independence and what? Conflict of what? Interest throughout the engagement process. You mustn't involve yourself in conflict of interest. Okay? It's also part of the ethical standards you have to maintain. Okay? You know you are auditing the firm. You don't go to the same, or you don't go to management and ask management to employ a staff from your audit firm. That is conflict of interest. So that I will write a favorable report for you. Okay, that is not ethical. Okay, yeah. Regulatory compliance. Ensure compliance with what? Relevant legal and regulatory requirements in accepting and continuing what? Audit what? Engagement. Okay? Now make sure that the appropriate laws are what? Complied with. Okay? In accepting your what? Audit what? Engagement. Okay? And ensuring it what? Continuity. Okay, yeah, that's how. Where are we? Race. Rejoice, why are you so happy? You came in and you are happy. You are still happy. A few minutes ago, you were serious and quiet. I thought she was even sad. Not knowing because you were in the your cabinet. You always what? Keep getting this. I saw where your eyes went. I saw it. Risk mitigation strategies. Oh, I'm wrong. I'm wrong there. You are being used as a terror. Okay, so risk mitigation strategy. We are saying that develop strategies for what? Mitigation what? Risk associated with what? The engagement. Come out with strategy so that you will be able to mitigate risk. That will be associated with what? Your engagement. In everything you do, there is. And once you anticipate for it, you are easy to what? Mitigate or reduce it when it comes. Okay? It doesn't come as a what? Shock. Yes. You have an emergency call. Okay, you can go and receive it. So we are saying that such as risk sharing arrangement where what appropriate. Okay. So once you develop a strategy, you identify the potential risks that are likely to work. Okay. You ensure that you know who to share it and how to share it so that in case it happens, you will know what you do. You are getting lots of things. All right. So that is it. And then we are saying that client acceptance and what? Continuous what? Policies. Implement clear and what? Documented what? Policies and procedures for what? Client acceptance and continuous decision within what? Audit firm. So you have to understand something at this point that it's not just about accepting, but maintaining the relationship. Okay, that is very important. Okay, client relationship what? Management. You have to manage your relationship well. So focus on building and maintaining what? Positive and what? Professional what? Relationship with what? Clients to facilitate what? And do what? Client satisfaction. Okay, you have to focus on that. Okay, you don't have to leave things, someone will say agile. You have to focus on maintaining a very good relationship. Everything good comes with an effort. Everything good comes with an effort. So if you don't put in the necessary effort, you may not get the necessary outcome. So if you love something, put in the effort to get it. Okay? Don't wait that the thing should automatically come to you like that. It may never come. Do you understand? When we were in secondary school, the sports people, they'll wake up at dawn and they'll be running and training. Okay, why do they do that? Whilst the rest are sleeping. Why would they do that? Because they want to get their what? Appropriate outcome. And those who place in put enough effort, okay, excel. It's here was my school. You know, look at what happened to this. It's a bit Machuamua, Agogo, you were all in my school, you know, who else? And at a point, 5 players in the blaster all went to my school. Because I went to a good school. I went to a good school. Make sure your children go to good school. I went to St. Augustine's College. Is it not a new school? If you don't go to a good school, you only succeed alone. You succeed alone. You understand? Yeah. But you realize that you understand this when you start working and you get to a specific age. You realize that it is good to have successful classmates. But at a certain point, it will be difficult for you to associate yourself with people who are not successful. Unless you want to go to college. You understand? Okay. Oh, what's happening? Hey, this call here, this lady, are we sure it is the normal call? We are here. Okay, so we are done with this. Sir. Say it again. It's okay. Right. So we are looking at what are the purpose of what? An audit letter. Okay. Everything has a purpose. And you must understand the purpose of audit engagement. Of audit engagement letter. Okay. An audit engagement letter or an engagement letter is a crucial document. Crucial. Why is it crucial? Very important. Why? It states, yes, it states what is expected from the auditor. Okay, yes, and it gives the auditors right to audit what? Potential client or a client. Do you understand? Yes, right. So we are saying that it's a crucial document in the auditing and professional service world industry. Its primary purpose is to what? Formalize the relationship between the service provider and the what? Client. Okay, so that's the primary what? Purpose. All right, so purpose of an engagement letter. Okay, we are on purpose of an engagement letter. And what are we saying? We are saying that it is what? An engagement letter is what? It's a crucial document in the what? Auditing and professional service what? Industry. Why? Because it what? It has a primary purpose, and that is to what? Formalize the relationship between what? The service provider and the what? Client. Without an engagement letter, there is no relationship. Okay? Without an engagement letter, there is no relationship between the auditor, the service provider, and what? The client. Now let's look at the key purposes of an engagement letter. What we are saying is that we have other purposes, but the primary one you have to know, because sometimes you'll be required to state the primary responsibility. So I was asking my dear slim beautiful lady, and she doesn't say, do you not know? Have you you've looked at it? So what's the primary responsibility of an external auditor? No, that is not the primary responsibility of an external auditor. I remember I really emphasized on this last 2 weeks, and I'm surprised that you have forgotten. Please, I don't want to be marking certain things. So the way I'm spending time, trying to do everything possible for you to be able to remember. Yes. That is not the primary responsibility. It's to express fairness and truthfulness on the financial statement. The primary responsibility is to express an opinion on the financial statement. Rejoice. Be careful. See, a class captain, you don't have to be distracting the class like that. How important is it that you can't wait at the class? You need to learn how to be more money. You understand the more. You understand? If you love your mother, learn hard, make money, and take good care of her. Okay? That is the best way you can show love to your mom. Eh? So if you're a boy and you don't work hard to make money, or you're a man and you don't have money, how can you get a beautiful girl to marry? Eh? All the beautiful girls are looking for rich men. So what does it tell the men or the guys here? Work hard. Otherwise, we're living in Kenya. Okay, so we are on what? Key purposes of what? An engagement letter. And we are saying that it includes, rejoice. We are saying that it includes what? Formal agreement. Okay? It serves as a formal contract or agreement that outline the what? Term, scope, and objectives of what? The engagement. Okay? Clarity of responsibility. Okay? It defines the roles, responsibilities, and expectations of both the service provider and the what? Client. Okay? Reducing what? Misunderstanding. If you don't know your role and you come here, how will you know what you are supposed to do and what you are not supposed to do? Okay? You know that it's the responsibility of the class captain or her assistant or her secretary to get what? Projector every morning. So it's clear. So you know whose responsibility it is. It's not going to cause any misunderstanding as to who is supposed to go for the projector or not. So when we come to the class and there is no projector, we know who to hold what? Accountable. Yes. Do you get it? Yes. Yes. Scope definition. It what? It delineates the scope of what? The engagement, specifying what services will be provided and what is excluded from what? The engagement. Okay? Right. So we are looking at the purposes of what? Of what? Engagement letter. And what did we say is the primary responsibility of the engagement letter? It formalizes the relationship between the service provider. Now remember, next week, when I ask, please remember, scope definition. It delineates the scope of the word, engagement, specifying what service will be provided and what should be excluded from what? The engagement. The next purpose of the engagement letter is what? Legal protection. It provides legal protection by clearly stating the rights and obligation of both parties, which can be crucial in case of what? Disputes or disagreements. Okay? Do you understand that? Is it clear? Can we move on? Okay. Risk management. It helps manage risk by specifying the limitation of what? The engagement. Okay? Once the engagement, the scope of the engagement is defined, it's what? It helps to what? Reduce risk. Because the more audit you carry, the more likely the risk is going to become. You understand? So once the scope is defined, then risk will also be what? Limited. Is that not it? Please, do you understand that? Yes. Content of an engagement letter. What are the requirements which should be inside the engagement letter? What should be contained in the engagement letter? And that is what we are going to look at. Okay? Right. So we are saying that the specific content of an engagement letter may vary depending on what? The nature of engagement. Okay? But it typically includes the following elements. The parties involved. The parties involved must be stated in the what? Engagement letter. And who are the parties involved in this? The what? The auditor and the... Okay. So the engagement letter identifies the service provider, which is the what? Audit firm, and the client, okay, the company, right? The company, the audit firm is what? Auditing. Including their names, contact details, and what? Legal entities. Okay, their names must be stated. Okay, their contacts. Okay, and their legal entities must be what? Stated. What the objective of the engagement? It must also be what? Stated. Okay, it clearly states the purpose and objectives of what? The engagement, whether it is an audit, review, consulting, or any other services. You know, audit firms, they provide, I said, a wide varieties of what? Services. Okay, their main purpose is to provide what? Audit services. But some audit firms do have advisory department. They have consulting department. Okay, so if it's an advisory department, they advise on how things should be done. Okay, and then if it's a consulting department, they are consulted. Okay, so what we are saying is that the engagement letter will state what type of service it is going to provide. Is it going to be a consulting? That is the problem. You are sitting here, you have to keep quiet.
Sorry, today is just not a good day.
Why? Why is it not a good day? So it's not a good day, so you have to do that. But you were talking to someone who were talking. Grace, what does she want to do? And what is your problem? You are not looking good.
I'm sorry.
All right, let's proceed. Scope of work. We are saying that as part of the content of the engagement letter, the scope of the auditor's work must be stated. Okay, the scope that the auditor is going to carry out his audit must be stated. Okay, so that he knows exactly the areas that the audit is going to be carried. And then responsibilities of what? Both parties. What's the responsibility of the audit firm? What are the responsibilities of the what? Client. All those things must be what? Specified in the what? Engagement letter. Their roles, responsibilities, expectations. Okay. What are the expectations of the audit firm, the clients? All those things must be specified so that they know exactly what they are going to do and what is expected of them. Then, timing and deadline. It specifies the timeline for the engagement, including milestones, deadlines, and expectation of completion what? Date. Okay? The audit is not going to be carried out forever. Okay? It must start from a specific period towards another. So that period of the audit must clearly be what? Stated. Is it starting from first what? We're in what fund? So is it going to start from 1st April to what? April has how many days? April 30 days. We are not in February. It's true. Rejoice is not herself. Please, we have a pastor here.
Yes.
Please come and shower some. Are you sure this is coming from your father? Another person.
No.
Please don't allow anyone. Okay, so is it starting from 1st June to 30th June, right? You have 10 days in June, right? Or is it going to start from 1st April to 30th June. Whichever the period, it must be clearly what? Stated. So that we know when we are going to end the audit. Okay? Yeah. Fees and billing terms. What is due to the auditor must be what? Clearly stated. How much they are supposed to be what? Paid. It must be stated. Okay? So we are saying that the letter discusses the fees for what? Services. Okay? My appointment letter to lecture you. Okay? Clearly states how much I'm supposed to get. Okay? And that is stated. Whatever I'm supposed to do, as in setting your questions and marking, is stated. Okay? After that, I submit it to what? The dean. So all these things are what? Clearly stated. So we are saying that with the engagement letter, we must also state how much they are due. Okay? How much is due to the what? External auditor or the audit firm. Okay? So the letter discusses the fees for what? Services, billing terms, payment schedules, and any additional cost or what? Expenses. All those things must be what? Clearly stated in the what? Engagement letter. Reporting and what? Deliverable. This is my first time. This is my first time seeing you in the class. This is your first time of coming. Were you here last week? And I didn't notice you. How come? Okay. So, we are saying that with reporting and deliverables, it outlines the format and the content of what? The report. How the report should be structured. Okay, and what should be contained in the auditor's report. Okay. The document or other deliverable. Okay, that will be provided to what? The client upon the completion of what? The engagement. All these things must be what? Specified. Please, do you get it up to this point? Any questions? Or question? No question. So it means you all understand. Okay. Confidentiality. It includes what? Provisions related to what? The confidentiality of what? Client information. And any exceptions or disclosure required by what? Okay. Confidentiality. It includes provisions related to the confidentiality of what? Client information and any exception or disclosure required by law. Okay? You understand that? So we are saying that the auditor must maintain confidentiality. Okay? And if there's a need for any disclosure stated by the law, that must be contained in the what? Engagement what? Letter. Limitation of what? Liability. The extent to which the auditor is liable in case of any what? Negligence, professional negligence must also be stated in what? The engagement what? Letter. So it must specify, it may specify limitations on the service provider's what? Liabilities, and define the extent of their responsibilities in case of what? Error or omission. Okay? Okay? So in case there is error, in case there is an omission, the auditor's liability for negligence must be specified. And you understand that? Do you get that? So we are saying that if the auditor will pay $10,000 for a mistake done or for an error, that $10,000 must be stated in the engagement letter. That is the extent to which the auditor is liable in case there is what? Professional negligence. Do you understand? Do you understand? I believe you can speak. If I come and stand here and I shake my head, will you be able to understand? So when I ask you a question, I expect you to what? Speak. Yes. Termination and dispute what? Resolution. We are saying that the letter details the conditions under which other parties may terminate what? The engagement. Okay? Okay? That must be what? Stated. And outline dispute resolution mechanisms. Legal and regulatory compliance. It ensures that engagement complies with what? Relevant legal and regulatory what? Requirements, and that both parties are aware of their what? Obligations. Okay? Right. Signatures. The engagement letter is typically signed by what? Authorized representative of what? Both the service provider and the what? Client, indicating their acceptance of what? The terms and what? If there is no signature, it's not valid. Okay? Once there is no signature, it can never be valid. Right. Can we move on? Integrity and objectivity. Auditors must maintain integrity and what? Objectivity throughout the acceptance and what? Continuous what? Process. Avoiding conflict of what? Interest and ensuring their actions are free from what? Bias. Professional competence and due care. Auditors must possess the necessary competence to perform the what? Audit. And exercise due professional care in evaluating the what? Engagement. They should assess their ability to meet ethical and professional requirements. What are we looking at? Do you remember these 5 guidelines? They are what? They are ethical. So they are professional and what? Ethical and what? Ethics, right? As stated by what? As stated by IFAC. Have you forgotten? The 5 guidelines. You forgotten? So the IFAC, who can tell me the full meaning? IFAC. International Federation of what? Accountants, codes and what? Ethics. Yes, these are the 5 guidelines for auditors and what? Accountants. Confidentiality. Auditors must respect the confidentiality of client what? Information and not disclose any confidential information without proper authorization or legal requirement. Professional behavior. Auditors are expected to act what? Professionally, which include what? Behaving with what? Courtesy, respect, and professional. I want the whole classroom. Professional. Yes, you remember what it is. Professional skepticism. Professional what? Skepticism. Skepticism. That is it. Okay, so what are we saying? What does it mean? What does it mean? Oh, we did this, yes. He said, yeah, the attitude, that must be what? That must be what? Adopted by the what? Auditor in what? Carrying out what? An audit. And you are saying that he must what? Maintain what? And questioning what? Hello? The auditor must maintain what? And questioning mind. Okay. Yes. He mustn't accept things on the face value. He must go into them. You get it? Right. Okay. When I came to start and you are looking elsewhere, and you became so serious at once. Hey, what's more strategies? So if I don't get back, then I wouldn't be. Please, you must smile, otherwise you may miss opportunities. Yeah? Because don't be everybody where you get the kappa way, go be approaching when you find ways like that. Eh? You go to church, pray that you want a good husband, you want a rich husband. Now walking on the street and you are frowned. Hey, how will the rich husband come?
Rich husband, they like serious wives.
They like serious wives. Okay. Alright. Now, is that true?
Yeah.
So you see, whilst we are moving on, when we come across what we've done previously, we try to refresh our mind on them. Okay? And that is what you should do. Try as much as possible to read through the slides, at least what we've done. Okay? Immediately after the class. Okay? And make time to read. Just read through when you're lying on your bed, like the way you go through your phone. Okay? Be reading through, and then you'll be following. And then things will become easier for you during exams. You understand? But if you don't read, it will become difficult. And I want to smile when I'm marking. Okay? Because if you fail, I can't help but to help you out. If you are failing, I have to help you out. Fail. Yeah? If you are passing, I have to help you out. Yes. So, where you are going, that is where we push you. Is that not it? Yeah. Independence and what? Objectivity. I say that auditors must maintain independence in fact and what? Appearance. Which is vital for ensuring what? Impartiality and what? Objectivity during their audit work process. They should assess any threat to what? Independence and take measures to mitigate or eliminate what? Them. Okay? Is it clear up to this point? Is everything moving on well? Okay. So we are on what? International standards on auditing. And these are laws, okay, or the standards, okay, the requirements that what takes as what is required of the what? Auditor, what they are supposed to do, what should guide them in their audit what process. So it is kind of what, like a legal framework. You get it? Yeah. Whatever we've discussed are requirements, okay, either by the ISA, the International Standard on Auditing, or the what? International Federation of Accountants Code of Conduct. All what we've done are requirements either from the law or from the Code of Conduct. Okay, so when you go into the law, then it states it in a word, in a law form. Okay, so I believe what we are going to do are things that we've done but are being what? Re-emphasized. Do you get the point? So when we look at, or when you go to the International Standard of Auditing, ISA 220, quality control for an audit of financial statement. What is required by the auditor? They are saying that auditors are required to establish and maintain a system of what? Quality control that covers all aspects of what? Audit practices, including what? And what? That is what ISA 220 states in terms of what? Quality control for what? Audit of the financial world. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And then when you go to ISA 210, agreeing the terms of audit engagement. Okay, what is required? Auditors must agree with the client on the terms of what? Audit engagement through what? A formal engagement what?
Yes.
We say that it must be through a formal engagement letter. That is why we did engagement letter. Because it's required by what? And when you want to find the source of it, go to where? ISA what? 210 or 210. How did the lawyer say it? They say it's 210. They say 210, not 210. So we say it's 210. Okay. We are learning. And we are doing it together, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
All right. So when we move on to ISA 315, what does it state? Identifying and what? Assessing the risk of material misstatement. Please, I believe you know what material misstatement are. You don't? And we've done this several times and no one is asking. Who knows about it? Material misstatement. If something has been misstated, what does it mean? Material misstatement. Okay, try. Instead of 5,000, it has been made what? 9,000. It has been what? It has been what? It has been what? It has been misstated. Right. So yes, it is not referring that it is not reflecting the true what? Value of the what? Financial statement. Okay? What is on the financial statement is not what? Agreeing with what? The source what? Document. Okay? There is material misstatement. Okay? They are not stating what the truth. Do you understand? Alright. So auditors are required to assess the risk of what? Material what? Misstatement associated with what? Client acceptance and what? Continuance what? Decision. They should consider client integrity, financial stability, and auditors and other what? Factors. Alright. So we move on to what? ISA 300. And what does it state there? It talks of what? Planning and audit of what? So auditors must develop an overall audit strategy. Okay? And what? Audit what? Plan, which includes assessing the client's business and the potential risk associated with what? The engagement. Now, ISA 220 revised. Okay, we are looking at the revision. It means that there has been a revision to the old one. What did the old one say? Let's go back. What did he say? Auditors are required to what? Establish and maintain a system of what? Quality control that covers all aspects of what? Audit practice, including client acceptance and what? Continuous procedures. And then what does the revised one say? On quality management for an audit of financial statements. This revised standard emphasizes the importance of what? Ongoing quality management in accepting an award. Well, have you been able to identify the difference? Have you been able to identify the difference? Is there any difference? Once there is revision, it means something has been added or something has been taken out. Is there any difference? Let's analyze it together. So this revised one emphasizes on what? Ongoing. The importance of what? Ongoing quality what? Management. Okay? That's where the emphasis is on. The continuation. The ability to maintain a sustainable relationship with what? The client. Okay? That is where the revision emphasis is on. Am I right? Oh, we are analyzing it together. If I'm wrong, tell me. From what you see on the board, am I right? Oh, only her responded. Am I right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. If you disagree, come out with your own version. Okay. And we are saying that ISA 570 is on what? Going concern, assumption. You've all done, you've all heard about going concern.
Yes.
The going concern what? Principle. And what does the going concern principle state? What does the going concern principle state? You said? What? Yeah. So it's a going on. So auditors are required to what? Consider the going concern assumption when assessing the client's what? Ability to continue its what? Operation for what? A reasonable period when accepting and what? Continuing the what? Engagement. So you went out because of water. That is very necessary. Okay? The going concern assumption must be assessed. Okay? So that you know whether the company is capable of operating into the foreseeable future. You understand? Yes. And then ISA 580, written representation. We spoke about representation here, right? Was it last week or last 2 weeks? Was it last week or last 2 weeks? Last week. So you all know about representations. Okay, so our class captain will help us with what we mean by representation. Rejoice. I said I'll call you Adam. Adam. Help us. Yes. So, however you want to explain to us, look into the class and tell us. We are speaking to the class. So face them.
More or less like around
Rejoice.
so
So, rejoice, please. It is not correct. Representation in terms of audit representations are not representing the client. Okay, in aspect of audit. You are doing audit. Oh, speak. You're wrong. You're wrong. Yes, who can help us with? What? Assistant class captain. Okay, assistant class captain. Assistant class captain. Assistant class captain. No, build your class captain. When we talk about representation, what do we mean? We spoke about it. Oh, please, let's keep quiet and listen to her. Secretary. Class secretary. Okay. Please. Bill your class captains and the assistant class captain. Audit is not audit representation. When we talk about representation, when it comes to audit engagement, what does it mean? Okay, let's move on. You have forgotten. You are saying that ISA 580 written representation. The standard requires the auditor to obtain written representation from what? Management. Okay, so what does this? What are representations? Representations always come from what? Management. As to the way things are done in the organization. That is what we mean by representation. And I said this last week. Please, didn't I say this? Or I didn't say it? I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I said it.
You said it.
I said it. I remember I said it. The representations are from management. And when the auditor gets into the firm, normally he interviews the management as to how they do things. And whatever they say are representations from what? Management. Okay, as to how things are done. Because the auditor doesn't know how things are done in the organization. So before you will be able to know, he must what? Receive representations from what? Management. And we are saying that ISA 580 states that receive not just verbal representation, but what? Written representation. Okay? So that you have what? Evidence as to what they say they do, or as to how they say they do things in the organization. Do you understand? Right. In some cases, those charged with governance, which include assertions regarding the acceptance and what? The continuance of what? The audit what? The engagement. See, I'm beginning to be scared that I speak about something here and then you people tend to forget. Why? Why? Do you have any other burden apart from studying? You don't work. You are taken care of by your parents, all of you. You are all being taken care of by your parents. No. You are working. You are the only person working here. You said? You are what? You are married. So it's also a responsibility. It's a burden. Is married a burden? Yes. Is married a burden?
Yes.
Please, when I was doing my first degree, I was combining it with what? Writing my ACCA exams. And I was doing other things like writing of scripts and directing of movies and series. I was always busy. When I was doing my masters, I was working with ACCA and I was writing my final part, ACCA. I was combining them. I was doing my masters. Let's move on. So we are on what? ISA 600, right? Special considerations. Audits of group financial statements, including the work of what? The work of what? Component what? Auditors. I said that auditors must assess the potential risks associated with what? Component what? Auditors. When accepting or continuing group what? Audit what? Engagement. That is what the law what? States. Yes. Any question? So we are saying that there are certain fundamental requirements, conditions that what must exist before an audit can be what? Carried out what? Effectively. Okay? What are the conditions or the fundamental requirements that must be there before an audit can take place what? Effectively. Those conditions are what we are come to look for. Right? Madam, what's your name? What? What is that these days? You people take horrible names before an audit can be what? Effectively and what? Ethically what? Conducted. Okay? So those conditions must exist. When we talk about preconditions for an audit, they must what? Exist before an audit what? Those conditions that must exist before an audit can be what? Carried out or conducted what? Effectively. Okay? And what? Ethically. These preconditions help to ensure the independence, the objectivity, and integrity of what? The audit process. The key preconditions for an audit include integrity and ethical values. The audit entity, the client, and the auditor must maintain high standards of what? Integrity and ethical values. Both parties should act in an honest and ethical manner, and there should be a commitment to ethical behavior throughout the audit process. We must behave ethically. Okay? There must be integrity, and then there must be what? Ethical values. Okay? To ensure that the audit process is carried out what? Is carried out what? More more effective. Okay. Independence. Okay. The auditor must be what? Independent. Okay. Which means they are free from what? Any financial, business or personal relationship that could compromise their objectivity or professional worth. Independence is essential to maintain impartiality and condition. What and integrity? What does this tell you? What you are looking at? You are saying that this condition must exist. Okay, and these are preconditions before audit can be carried out more effectively. And what you are looking at, these are what? These are what? These are the professional what? Ethics as stated by what? These are the International Federation of what? Accountants. Their codes and what? Conduct. These are, you can look at, you should know the links. It helps you to easily remember. Okay? So what they are saying is that the guidelines as stated by the International Federation of Accountants Code of Ethics are the preconditions that must exist before what? An audit can be carried out more what? Effectively and what? Ethical. Yes. Yes. Professional competence and due care. The auditor must possess the necessary professional competence and expertise to conduct the what? Audit. This includes having a solid understanding of what? Audit what? Standards. Okay? Accounting principles. And the industry in which the client what? Operates. No, different organizations operate in different industries. Okay? And to be able to carry out your audit effectively, you must understand the industry in which the client, the organization you are auditing, operates. Do you get it? Yes. So for instance, can you mention one company and tell me which industry the whole company operates? Can you mention one company in Ghana or in any country of your choice and tell me the industry in which that company operates? For yes. What? Speak louder so that we can hear you. Including industries. Yes. Which industry? Agriculture. Okay. Yeah. Yes. MTN. Telecommunication. Yes. I need more. So if you are auditing MTN, you must understand the industry of what? Telecommunication. If you are auditing Nkulenu, what? Palm North. You must understand the agricultural what? Industry. And aside that, you must know your accounting standards. You must know your auditing standards. Okay? What does that mean? It means you must read. And you must do what? Undertake continuing what? Professional development. To update and upgrade yourself. You get it? Yes. Yes. Okay. So auditors are required to exercise due professional what? Care. What does that mean? You have to be diligent in the performance of what? Your audit. You have to be careful. Okay? Right? If you are quiet like that, it means it's not sinking. Okay? Yes. Yes. Audit engagement agreement. An audit engagement should be what? Established through a formal written what? Agreement between the auditor and the what? This agreement should outline the terms and conditions of what? the audit, including what? Scope, objectivity, responsibility of both parties, and what? Fees. So what? That must also what? This condition must also what? Exist, right? Right? Yes. To ensure what? Effective what? Audit what? Work, right? Access to information and what? Record. Can you imagine if you are an auditor, external auditor, you need information, you need records and you are not being given? Can you carry out your audit effectively? No. So they must be granted what? Access to relevant information and records necessary to what? Carry out the what? Audit what? Audit what? Audit process. Right? The client must provide the auditor with what? Unrestricted access to all necessary information, okay? Records and documents relevant to what? The audit. The auditor needs access to what? Financial records, transactions, data, and other essential documents to conduct the what? Audit what? Effective. Okay, what other condition? What other precondition? When we say pre, it means they must exist before what? Pre, they must exist before what? They must exist before what? They must exist before the audit was, so that it can be carried out. Is it always what? For instance, when you look at audit engagement agreement, they are saying that an audit engagement should be established through what? A formal written agreement. Engagement between the auditor and the what? Yes. Speak louder so that we can hear you. And also on yes. Yeah. The perception of the public, yeah. You wouldn't what? Do it well. I don't get, so what's your point? When I said, I can't hear you. Stand up and come out here and speak. Why no? I can't hear you. Yes. So do you think that the auditors didn't do their work well because of public perception? So if the expected time wasn't enough, you should have, in the engagement and when you were being engaged, you should have asked for an extension. Is that not it? They were interested in their audit fee and other consulting services. Okay? Probably that is why they decided to ignore certain things. And probably they've been auditing them for a longer period. So they become familiar. So there is a threat to their independence. Okay? So of course, I don't think it was the perception from the public, okay, that made them not to work well or to become professionally independent. Do you understand? Yes. Yes. serious like this. Because I will be starting here. Whether you like it or not. Yes. Can it reappear? Independent. It is, what do you call it? It is the auditor as required by the IFA. They must be independent, right? So that they'll be able to carry out their work. What? Effective. Okay, and it is a precondition that must exist before the audit process begins and for the audit process to be carried out effectively. So, are you saying that the engagement letter has really affect the independent? Of course. That's, yeah. How does the engagement letter? The engagement letter specifies what is required from the external auditor. So management can't limit or their work, okay, or have an unnecessary influence on what they are supposed to do. Already, what they are supposed to do is stated in their engagement letter. So management can't manipulate it when they begin the audit process. So yes, the audits, the engagement letter can also help maintain some level of independence. Have I been able to get it? Okay. Where are we? Client's responsibility for financial statement, right? We are there. Okay. We are saying that the client is responsible for what? The preparation and presentation of what? Yes. It is whose responsibility? The client. It is not the auditor's responsibility to come and prepare your financial statement and present it for you. And after that, come and what? Audit it. It is not his responsibility. It is what? The client's responsibility. Okay. And that must be done in accordance with what? Applicable what? Financial reporting framework. Okay? This includes the accurate and complete representation of what? Financial data. You can't just do anything you want. You can't prepare the accounts anyhow you want. It must be in line with what? The accounting standards. Okay? Yes. The International Financial Reporting Standards. We have IFRS. Okay? It states how financial statements should be what? Prepared and what? Presented. So that what accountant A, for instance, if you are an accountant MTN, because I know you have an interest there, you want to work with MTN. The way you prepare your account and present it should be the same as accountant B. Which one? Any company. Okay, so I should give you one. So it should be the same as the way you prepare and present your financial statement. In, let's say 8, okay, that's it. Right. Okay, so that you'll be able to maintain a standard, a uniform financial statement across what? Board, globally. Okay, right. Management's acknowledgement of what? Responsibilities. Yeah. Management of the audited what? Entity should what? Acknowledge its responsibility in the preparation and presentation of the financial statement and provide written representation as required by what? Auditing what? So you understand that? They must what? They must what? We are saying that management must what? Acknowledge its what? It must be stated, not verbally, right? It must be stated what? It must be written, okay? Written down that these are my responsibilities, okay? And what? It is my responsibility to prepare what? And present what? The financial statement, okay? And any other representations that are required for what? Management. It must be what? Written, okay? Can we move on? Legal and regulatory compliance. The audited entity should comply with all relevant legal and regulatory what? They must comply with all relevant what? Legal and regulatory requirements, not what? Sample, including what? Financial reporting and disclosure standards. Compliance with laws and regulations is essential for accurate financial what? Reporting. It's very essential to report accurately. Okay? Do you get it? Okay. Complete and what? Accurate what? Information. The client must provide the auditor with what? Complete and accurate information regarding its what? Financial and operational what? Activities. These include disclosure of what? Significant issues, transactions, and potential what? Do you get that? Or you need an explanation? Any question or questions? So, you all understand up to this point. Are you following? Communications with those charged with what? Governance. The auditor should communicate effectively with those charged with what? Governance, such as the board of what? Directors or audit committee, to ensure what? Transparency and accountability in the what? Audit process. Ensure that both parties are clear on the scope of work and the audit what? Approach. All these are what? Preconditions that must exist before an audit can be carried out effectively. Okay. So we are what? I said we are supposed to cover what? We are supposed to cover what? We are supposed to cover up to which point? Yes? We are covering what? We are covering obtaining, assessing, and continuing audit engagement, objectives and general principles, and what? Audit planning and what? Documentation. Okay? Right. Okay. So take notes. So we have what? Process by which an auditor obtains an audit what? What are the processes by which an auditor obtains an audit engagement? Initial contract. Of course, there must be an initial contract. Okay? Is that what? Contact. Whose contact?
Constant.
The initial contact. And then you misled me by saying initial contract. If I follow this class captain is not here, so let's spare her. I say I work with who did you have to so now go there now go me down. Now my hand can be there. Dada, and I'm one. So who did it? Who don't know what is who did it? Maybe I know what television or trinity. Yes, I know they're both saying fine. Do you understand? So if you are following, don't follow blindly. See? Okay. Initial contact. The process begins with the what? Initial contact between what? The auditor and the potential what? Client. Okay? That is how the process begins. Okay. So the auditor would what? Is moving around marketing himself. I'm obtaining clients. And then now he gets to a potential client. That is the initial contact. Okay? Why are you here? Oh, I am an audit firm and we carry out audits. I'm here to find out if you need someone who will what? Carry out your audit processes for you. Okay? So that is the initial contact. Alright. So this contact may occur through various means. Okay? Either through what? Referral. If let's say there's an external auditor auditing MTN and MTN decides to refer that auditor to another company, that is referral. Or networking. Okay? Maybe your network, you got it through networking. You know what networking is, right? Your contacts, those you are staying in touch with. Someone decided to connect you. Okay? Proposals. You sit down and you write a proposal and then you present it to the company. All these things are initial what? Contact. Or direct enquiries from what? The client. Direct from the client. You go and inquire. Okay? We need an external auditor. I find out about how is Ernst & Young, how do they conduct their audit? Are they really good? Can we engage them? Okay? Who can I speak to? That one, the client does it himself. He moves on to what? Inquire. Direct inquiry from what? The client. Please do get it. Understanding the client's what? That's the next step. Of course, you have to understand, if you want to go and audit a company, you have to understand the needs. You've seen a nice thing, you don't understand the needs. You can't sustain it. Okay? You have to understand her needs if you want to really continue for a long time or for the rest of your life, whichever is applicable. Okay? So the auditor must understand the client's specific what? Needs and the nature of what? Engagement. This involves discussion with what? The client to gain insight into the what? Business, industry, financial reporting requirements, and any what? Unique what? Circumstances. Any form of relationship that you want to last. Okay? When you meet initially, it is what? Necessary to what? Understand the needs of what? Each other. Okay? And that you have to do by sitting down and what? Discuss and talk. So that you understand yourself what? Properly. Do you get it? That's something. You got it, you get it. Or you got it. So, proposal submission. So after assessing the client's needs, the auditor may what? Prepare and submit a formal proposal. Okay. This proposal typically includes a description of the audit service to be what? Provided, as an estimate of the fees, the proposed timeline, and terms and what? Conditions. Okay, all these things will be stated in the proposal. Engagement letter. If the potential client accepts the proposal, the next step is to formalize the what? Audit engagement through what? An engagement what? Letter. Okay? So the engagement letter is from who? The engagement letter, is it from the auditor or the client? Is it from the auditor or the client? From the client. Is it not the client who accepts the proposal? After he accepts the proposal, he has to engage the auditor. Is it the woman who engaged the man or the man who engaged the man? Anyone? Can a woman engage a man in our culture?
Yes.
Hey! So it happens these days. A woman comes out, I'm coming to engage you.
Yes.
No about me papa ni mami. So the auditor will state how much he or she will take. If the client, after he accepts the proposal, okay, and has decided to work with the auditor, then he has to engage the auditor through engagement letter. You understand? Yeah. So we are on what? Client acceptance and what? Continuous what? Procedure. So before proceeding with the engagement, the auditor performs client what? Acceptance and continuous procedures to assess the client's what? Integrity, financial stability, and other relevant factors. Okay? So before the auditor will accept the engagement letter, he must what? Satisfy himself with what? These factors. Okay? Whether the clients, they have integrity, whether they are financially stable, can they pay the audit fee? Okay? And other relevant factors. Okay? So this procedure helps to ensure that the client is a suitable candidate for the what? Audit. Okay? Are you sleeping? Sit properly. You are sitting in a class and it's like you are home, relaxing. Hello? Are you dozing? Are you following? You have to be attentive in class. You have to sit appropriately in class. So that whatever is being said will enter. Independence and ethical consideration. The auditor evaluates their work and objectivity to confirm they can conduct the audit without any word. Okay? Hello? Why the noise? Or murmuring? What is it? Any question? Any reservations?
No.
Then what? Why? What's happening? Any comments?
No.
Then you keep quiet and listen to me. So we are saying that the auditor must evaluate their independence and objectivity. This audit that we are going to carry out, can we truly be independent? Can we truly be what? Objective? And you'll be able to know once you've engaged with the firm for some time. Okay, you are saying that they must evaluate that. To confirm they can conduct the audit without any conflict of what? Interest. Okay? This includes assessing any potential threats to what? Independence and taking measures to mitigate or eliminate what? Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Risk assessment. The auditor conducts a preliminary risk assessment to identify any significant risk associated with what? The audit engagement. Okay, you must always conduct risk assessment. This assessment helps in planning and executing the what? Audit what? Effectively. You have to plan your audits. In everything you do, you have to plan. An auditor doesn't do anything different. They plan their audit. In your personal life, you have to plan. Okay, when you wake up, you plan your day. You plan your week. When you do that, you are always what? You are always what? You are always what? On top of what? Situations. Things doesn't take you by shock. You are not in a rush for anything because you've planned and made provisions for what? For it. Okay? Of course, you have to be flexible to be able to what? Bring in or adjust. Because once the reality begins to strike, you realize that, oh, you planned to do this. But because of this, you weren't able to do it. So you have to revise your what? Whatever you intend to do for the week or the day. Please, are you getting it?
Yes.
Yeah. So once the engagement is accepted, who accepts the engagement? Quickly, who accepts the engagement? Who accepts the engagement? Who accepts the engagement?
I'm lost. The client is a
It's the auditor. We are saying that. So the client comes out with an engagement letter and accepts it again. No. Okay, so it's the auditor. And once the auditor accepts the what? The engagement, he must plan his what? Audit. Okay? Yeah. Please don't be confused with how I'm taking you through this. I find it very awkward that simple questions confuses you. It means you are not paying attention. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. If you are following and you are paying attention, you should be easily able to answer some of these questions. Okay. So the auditor develops an audit plan that outlines the audit objectives, the scope, the procedure, and timeline. Okay. Of course, the scope has been determined in the engagement letter, but he must sit down based on what was agreed on. He must plan alongside it. Do you understand? Client communication. Client communication. The auditor communicates with the client to discuss the audit what? Plan. Once you sat down and plan, it takes two. So whatever you plan, you have to go and sit down with the client and discuss it. Okay? Because whatever you plan, you are going to undertake it in the client's what? Fair or business. So you can't just plan and go or you are going to carry out. You have to sit down and make him aware. the auditor must communicate with the client to discuss the audit plan, confirm the timeline, and gather any additional information or documentation necessary to what? Perform the work. Audit. Execution of audit procedures. The auditor conducts field work. Okay? Now you're writing your names there. Now the auditor undertakes what? The field work, the practicality. He's now going to do the work. Execution of what? The audit process. Okay? Yeah. So what will he do? He will do some what? Testing. Okay? And then what? He will verify account balances. Okay? The balance at the end of the account. You have to verify whether it is true. Okay? Either by recalculating or preparing the financial statement or the account. Do you get it? And when we talk about testing of an account, okay, whatever the auditor may engage or will engage the accountant or whoever prepared the financial statement and presented it. And he would be able to tell the auditor what they do. Okay? So he must test the records to ensure that what they are saying they do is what is really what taking place. Okay? That is what we mean by testing. He must pick some samples and test. Okay? Do you get it? He must assess the internal controls as outlined in the word audit word plan. Do you get it? Reporting and what? Communication. The auditor prepares and issues an audit report. It is whose responsibility to issue the report? So it is his responsibility to prepare and what? So the auditor what? Prepares and issues an audit report that presents the findings, conclusions, and opinion based on what? The audit what? Process. The report is shared with the client and may be communicated to those charged with what? Done. Follow up and completion. So after the audit, the auditor may what? Engage in a follow-up what? Activity such as addressing any client concerns, answering questions, and providing additional information or what? Documentation if what? The audit is considered complete when all relevant audit procedures are what? So until there is a follow-up to address any other matters, issue, the audit is not complete. The audit doesn't get completed at the point when the audit report is what? Issued. Do you understand? Because when you issue your report, there might be concerns that needs what? Answers. And the auditor must follow up to address those concerns. Once that is done, and all matters properly addressed and answered, then we can say that the audit process is what? Importance of what? Engagement letter. Formalizing what? The relationship. We are saying that one importance of the engagement letter is what? It formalizes what? Relationship. Okay? Between the what? Service provider and what? The client. It helps what? Establish clear expectations and what? Responsibilities. We are saying that another importance of what? Engagement letter is that it defines the scope. Okay? The areas, the responsibility, the role as required by what? As required by the what? Auditor. Okay? The areas that the auditor is supposed to conduct is what? Audit. Okay, and that would definitely state the objectives and the areas that is supposed to be examined. And this helps prevent misunderstanding about the extent of audit work. Okay, once the scope is clearly defined, there will definitely not be any misunderstanding as to whether the auditor was supposed to audit a particular place or not. When we go into the engagement letter, it is clearly defined, and that will serve as a basis for how the audit work should be carried out. And we are saying that responsibility is clearly classified. Okay, whatever is expected from clients, whatever is expected from auditor, their responsibilities and roles are clearly stated in the engagement letter. So it is an important. Okay, right, Arika. Is it Arika? Did I pronounce it properly? I'm right. Yes. Legal protection. In the event of dispute and disagreement, engagement letters provide what? Legal protection. Okay? They serve as document evidence of the terms and conditions agreed upon. Okay? Yeah. If there's any dispute, the first thing that probably a lawyer will ask is bring your engagement letter. Look, I have issues with my former organization. Okay? And I tried to, when I spoke with the lawyer, the first thing is, where is your appointment letter? Okay? That is what would, that's the basis of anything that, before you move on, that you must bring your appointment letter to show that truly you were appointed by the organization. And then the terms upon which you were appointed. Okay? Then we will look at why your appointment was terminated. Okay? And see whether it's infringed on anything stated in your appointment letter. Do you get it? So if there's anything legal, what shows that you, the auditor, you were engaged? It's the engagement letter. Oh, on this day, I was employed by these people to what? Carry out an audit for them. And this is the engagement letter. And these were the terms. So the terms are clearly stated. And then whatever dispute, we'll look at it. And then look at the engagement letter. And then that will help us what? Resolve whatever it is. Do you get it? Yes. Yeah. Risk management. Engagement letter helps manage risk by specifying the limitation of what? The engagement. Okay? Once you are carrying the scope is what? Why the risk is also going to be what? More. But when the scope is limited, the risk is what? Going to be what? Limited. What are we saying? We are saying that once the scope is defined, it helps to what? Manage what? Risk. Because you know what is expected of you, and you know the areas you are supposed to what? Conduct the what? Audit. So you are able to what? Anticipate the risk associated with it, and then carry out strategies in order to what? Minimize the risk. Do you understand? Client communication. Engagement letter offer an opportunity for the auditor to communicate important matters to what? The client, such as the need for what? Full cooperation, access to records, and the importance of what? Confidentiality. Okay? It's clear. Is that not it? We are saying that another importance of engagement letter is what? Professional standards compliance. Okay? We ensure that compliance with professional standards and ethical guidelines, particularly those related to engagement acceptance, clear communications, and what? Documentation. Engagement letter helps in what? Specifying all this. Okay? Overall objective of what? Quality control procedures in what? Audit. How many slides do we have to end? We are on what? 24. And then where are we ending? Say again.
79.
No, you are not finishing all. Say again. That's what is it?
That's what we are doing now.
That's what we are doing now. Okay. Overall objective of what? Quality control procedures in an audit. Yes, you have any question? What is our overall objective of what? Quality control procedures. Quality control procedures in an audit are designed to ensure that the audit is conducted with the highest level of what? Integrity and what? Effectiveness. The overall objective of these procedures are as what? Follows. The objective of what? Quality control is, one objective is to comply with what? Professional what? Standards. And when you comply with professional standards, you are able to what? Maintain the highest level of what? Professionalism. Okay? So to ensure that the audit is conducted in accordance with applicable auditing and ethical standards, which includes international standard of auditing and the what? The auditor's own quality control policy. Okay? That is one objective. To comply with professional standards, to comply with international standard of auditing. Okay? To ensure that the audit is conducted in compliance with applicable auditing and ethical standard. That is one objective of quality control procedures. Also, another objective is what? Independence and what? Objectivity. They are saying that to maintain the independence and objectivity of the auditor, to what is essential for what? Forming unbiased conclusion and opinion during what? The audit reason. So yes, one objective of quality control procedure is what? To maintain what? Independence and what? Objectivity. What is another objective? Professional competence. To ensure that the audit team possesses the required professional competence and expertise to perform the audit, including technical knowledge, skills, and experience. Right? Ethical behavior. Remember that all the points we've stated are what? The International Federation of Accountants codes of what? Ethics and what? Those points were those first objectives. How many were there? Is it four? The first 3-4 points that we do. The first 3, right? Including the ethical. Okay, so the first 3 are all stated in the what? IFAC's code of law. To uphold ethical behavior, to uphold high ethical standards through the audits, including integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, and professional behavior. Wow, what's happening? Is the projector time?
Yes. It's time.
Is it time?
Yes.
Is it 2:30?
Yes.
Risk assessment and what? Management. We are saying that to identify, assess, and manage risk, okay, associated with what? Audit engagement, including risk related to the what? Client integrity and financial stability. We are saying that another objective of quality control procedure in auditing or audit is what? To what? To assess risk and manage it. Okay? Audit planning and execution is also another objective of what? Quality control procedure. To facilitate effective audit work, planning. Let's finish with the objective. The projector,
Yes.
what is the projector behaving like that? So let's finish with the objective. So we are saying that audit planning and what? Execution. So to facilitate effective audit planning, execution and what? Supervision, ensuring that the audit procedures are performed accurately and what? Efficiently. It is what? An objective of what? Quality control, procedures, in what? And audit. Evidence and documentation. To establish appropriate audit evidence and what? Documentation to support the auditor's findings, conclusion, and what? Communication. To ensure effective communication between what? The audit team, the clients, those charged with governance. Examples, the board of directors or audit committee and other relevant parties. So we are saying that ethical behavior, risk assessment and management, audit planning and execution, evidence and documentation, communication, compliance with professional standards, integrity and objectivity, professional competence are all what? Objectives of what? Quality control procedures in what? Audits. Are we clear about that? So next week we will start by what? Looking at the importance of quality control procedures. Okay? Any questions, comments? Because you want to go, you are saying no. Okay, I have questions for you. I have questions for you. If you don't have any question for me, I have one for you. Say it again. Oh, it's purely theory. When it comes to audit, it's theory. Mostly theory. Thank you for your time and for giving me an opportunity to lecture you. Thank you for that. What you can also do for me is what? Learn hard. And then when I ask the questions, you are able to what? Answer. So that is it. And then the last thing, if you know you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, raise your hands. Hands up. Because you